What's up, spectators? Welcome back to an episode of Ace Attorney 6. We've already been introduced to the two key witnesses, and we're just now starting this guy's testimony. Shisho's dying message. I noticed Shisho's dying message right away. The stiff cards were right there next to the stiff, you see. Hey now, enough with the silly puns already. Anyway, I got the meaning right away. I knew it must have been talking about Bucky. That was the Master's final message, left as he was drowning in Soba broth. It was so like Shisho not to write Bucky's name outright. Plain and simple wasn't his style. Well, that was certainly a more entertaining testimony than usual. The variety of characters performed by the witness was absolutely splendid. But he shouldn't be performing any characters in the first place, Your Honor. And Uendo! The murder weapon hasn't been determined yet. So how can you say that the victim was drowned in Soba broth? So broth. It's obvious. All you have to do is look at the crime scene. He was found with his face shoved in a bowl. It's only natural to assume he was drowned in the broth for the noodles. Well, actually, you know, with all these characters this guy's got, I don't know. I'm trying to think who would have a more interesting breakdown. The balloon girl or this guy? Probably this guy. Except we're not here to assume things, Uendo, so please stick to just the facts. My, it's so like a Soba chef to kill someone this way, wouldn't you say? And with the Karuta message he left behind, it's clear Bucky Wet did it. Setting aside the issue of the murder weapon for now, that dying message certainly does seem to be irrefutable evidence. Indeed, it proves the absolute guilt of the accused. Even I've got to admit that I can't see how that message could mean anything else. Bucky used Soba for the dead, all to get back the Soba shop deed. This testimony makes Mr. Wet look super guilty. I have to do something. That's his conclusive evidence. What a farce. What a fart. What do you mean, Simon? What's this? I thought you said you weren't planning on asking me for help. I did, and I won't. Thank you very much. Simon must have found an inconsistency in the testimony. I'd better listen carefully and try to see what he found. Uendo, when you saw the cards on the table, what made you think they were Master Tonaido's dying message? Well, it was a coded message right there next to the body. I'm sure anybody would have thought that they were to name his killer. I love murder mysteries and often watch them on TV. Oh, I see. I saw a similar scene during a murder mystery marathon last Tuesday. That's what made me think, this must be a dying message. The stiff cards were right there next to the stiff, you see.
Hold it!
The cards were on the table your master's body was slumped over, right? You must have been surprisingly calm to notice them at the time. As I said, the stiff cards were right there next to the stiff, so they were hard to miss. But wouldn't it have been more natural to notice the victim rather than the cards? The message just caught my eye because the stiff cards were right there next to the stiff. Oh my god, stop saying that! But the fact hardly seems to— I know it's a clue, but like, oh, they're just enough to make a person take note of them. Okay, stop. Okay. Alright, back it up. Present.
Objection!
Oh shit. Is that not it? Oh dear. I probably should have looked at it. Alright, hold on. It's not this? Let's see. 2 drink cans in the fridge, covered in Soba flour. And it's not this. Huh. Well, how about this? How about I go back 1? Oh, never mind. How about I present the autopsy report?
Objection!
Nice guess, me. Nice guess! There was a red herring, this stiff. There's a contradiction in Uendo's testimony. And would you care to explain where, Miss Sykes? Certainly. According to the autopsy report, nothing unusual was found in the victim's lungs. Ah, yes, it does say that, doesn't it? If he had drowned in a bowl of soba, then there should have been soba broth in his lungs. But since there wasn't any, it means the victim was suffocated with something other than soba broth. What? This is the contradiction you noticed, isn't it, Simon? Not bad. I guess I showed you! But if drowning in the soba broth wasn't the cause of death, then when was the victim's face thrust into that bowl? Taifu Tonido's face was thrust into the bowl after his murder. Because no soba broth was discovered in the victim's lungs. His head must have been placed into the bowl after he was killed. And that's when the soba broth must have been spilled onto the Karuta cards. In other words, the victim could not have lined up the cards as he was drowning. I see. So it was done after he was already dead. But why would the culprit do such a thing? I'm afraid I don't know yet.
Objection!
You boast of psychological expertise, yet you cannot determine such a simple motive. My sides are liable to split at the absurdity. And I suppose you know why? Of course. Desecrating the body in that manner indicates a strong sense of enmity on the part of the perpetrator. Yes, that does make sense. It certainly paints a clear picture of the culprit's intense feelings towards the victim. Feelings of resentment over the theft of the soba shop's deed, no doubt. Wow, that's some great speculation there. Now the judge has an even more unfavorable impression of Bucky.
Silence!
Must you come undone at every juncture? If the culprit had time enough to set up Master Tonido's body, do you think they would have honestly failed to notice the dying message? Good point. The cards were right in front of his body, after all. Rationally speaking, there's no way the culprit could have missed that.
Objection!
But was the accused rational at the time, given the way he stormed out of the room?
Silence!
Never mind that. I have something more important to ask Uendo. Me? You saw the Karuta cards firsthand, did you not? Would you care to tell us about them in a bit more detail? Those tiny crime scene photos show us precious little of what I wish to know. Well, those cards are from Shisho's special Soba Scenes of Tokyo Pass set. Each card is related in some way to Soba. Spare me the history lesson. Just tell me how the cards looked at the scene and no more. Well, there was soba broth spilled all over them. That's not much help, I'm afraid. Prosecutor Sadbani, do you have a photo that shows the cards more clearly? I do. Please accept this meager offering, Your Honor. Oh my, what delightful looking cards. Well, well, well. Tearing Prosecutor Sad Monk's conclusive evidence apart should be a breeze with this. Don't tell me you haven't noticed. Don't be silly, of course I have. Not noticed anything, but I can't exactly say that now, can I? Well, the broth isn't on the... It's been rearranged. Okay, come on now. So the real puzzle will be figuring out what it originally said. Miss Sykes, do you really see a problem with the prosecution's claim about these cards? Well, go on then. It's do or die. All I have to do is study the picture and... these cards were rearranged. But how can you tell? Please take a good look at these cards, Your Honor. The answer is right in front of us. Where exactly should we be looking? Please focus your attention on the sober broth stains on these cards. The outline of these stains don't match up with the larger stain on the table. Would you look at that? You're absolutely right. And please recall that the sober broth was spilled and got on the cards after the murder, when the victim's face was placed in the bowl. Go on. By the stains, we can see that the culprit deliberately rearranged the cards after that. In other words, this message was altered in order to pin the crime on my client. What? Then if we put the cards back in their original positions, we can restore the evidence and see who the cards were really pointing toward. That's true. Then what are we waiting for? Let's do this. All I have to do is rearrange the cards so that the stains match up. Now this will be interesting. Let's see, where was this W card originally? Let's see, based on that stain, it would be right here. The H card is next. H card is right, let's see, it sort of does like a wavy thing right here. Now the E card goes right over here. T card right over... This one's... Actually, that one's fine. So it's this one. Okay. N... Oh, I got a percent. Sorry. Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, there's a spot over here. I didn't even see that. O goes over here. Owen Wilson. Owen the Fourth!
Take that!
Owen the Fourth! So the message wet number 4 was originally supposed to say Owen Fourth. And this original message is our clue to the identity of the true culprit. That indignant look on the prosecutor's sad monk's face is positively priceless. This is absurd. Order in the court! Well, I never would have imagined that there was more to these cards than meets the eye. So now that that's settled, what does this Owen Fourth mean? Wait, am I... Who else do you suppose is to provide an explanation? Of course it's you. But I hadn't thought that far yet. Change the cards around it all you'd like, but if you cannot explain what the message means, then it is as worthless as you are, defense. Well, no, because your whole thing was about it showing that it said wet number 4. Okay. No! Don't play this song! This is a bad time to play this song, because I'm not in deep water. Everything's going according to plan. Don't play this da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It should be playing da-da-da-da-da-da to Sanmari. This is nonsense. And so the spring chick that fancies itself a graceful swan is brought back down to earth. I have to do something, but what? Still your thought for a second. There's a perfectly good witness to question over there. Right, that's a good idea. Come on, Athena, get a hold of yourself. Uendo, does the phrase Owen Fourth mean anything to you? No, there's no one named Owen in the Tonaido family, or our circle of friends. Go ahead, ask anybody you'd like. You can't be serious. Having rummaged through your empty mind, I see you have, as expected, turned up nothing.
Silence.
I'm afraid I have no idea who the devil this Owen Fourth is either. But the fact remains that the cards were rearranged to pin the blame on Mr. Wet. That in itself proves that the defendant isn't the real culprit. Blackwill's right. Besides, the important question here is not who does the message point to, but rather, who rearranged the cards? Why didn't you point that out earlier if you already knew? Sorry. In any case, there were two opportunities for someone to rearrange the cards. The first was when Mr. Wet entered the dressing room, and the second was when Uendo discovered the body. Are you accusing me of rearranging the cards? Me, who came to testify out of the goodness of my heart? Well, you didn't exactly come running out screaming straight away, did you? Even a mere 2 or 3 minutes is more than enough time to get up to some devilry. So what exactly were you doing in there, Uendo? Put down the tea and spit out your answer. Mr. Prosecutor, what's a guy supposed to do at a time like this? Silence is more precious than diamonds, witness, therefore you need only stay silent. The defense is devious. They're waiting for you to make a slip of the tongue. Oh, I see, so that's what they're after, is it? In that case, Your Honor, I've decided not to say another word. Very good. After all, your right to remain silent is protected by law. Well, Blackwill, any other brilliant ideas you'd like to share? Did you hear that, Sykes-Dono? A Rakugo artist who's afraid to speak. Who's ever heard of such a thing? Are you trying to taunt him into talking? Such a petty trick will never work. That's right. I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm only asking to hear your story. Besides, is it not your job to tell your tale as if there is an audience to listen? Even so, I have the right to refuse to answer. The more you keep quiet, the more we want you to talk. That's simply human nature. Isn't that right, people of the gallery? Oh, Blackwill's good. Even with this wonderful audience in front of you, you still refuse to talk. If so, then perhaps you chose the wrong line of work, my friend. Are you saying I should quit? Because I'm not afraid to speak my mind, I'll have you know. Oh no, never mind what I just said. It is scary to talk. It's absolutely terrifying. But no, as a Rakugo artist, I must talk. If I don't, how can I ever show my face on stage again? Your Honor, I'm ready to testify. He did it. He managed to convince Uendo with his power of suggestion technique. Bully for you, Uendo. That's as real Rakugo artist should be. Alright. If the witness wishes to testify, then by all means, please do. to be turned by such an obvious ploy. What a man of weak spirit. After my performance, I went to visit Shisho. I called to him from outside the room, but he didn't reply. When I entered the dressing room, I saw Shisho slumped over the table, motionless. From what I can tell, there do not appear to be any inconsistencies in the testimony. Of course there aren't any, because I'm not trying to hide anything. Sadmari's right. I don't see anything inconsistent either. But I did pick up on some faint discord in Uendo's heart. Ponder all you'd like, defense, but it's pointless. Your Honor, I believe there's no need for further deliberation.
Hold it!
I disagree, Your Honor. I detected discord in the voice of the witness's heart. That's a clear indication that Uendo's facing some sort of inner turmoil. Aren't we all? Are you saying what I think you're saying, Miss Sykes? It's time to play that kick-ass psych song? Yes, Your Honor. The defense would like to play some kick-ass music.
Objection!
Uendo, there's no need for you to submit to this so-called therapy. It's fine by me. I have nothing to hide. Bring it on. Impetuous fool. Why will you not listen to the guidance of this humble servant of the Holy Mother? If the witness wishes to proceed, I see no problem, prosecutor. In one ear and out the other. It seems this performance has no need for your so-called guidance, prosecutor Sad Monk. Just know this, Uendo, your folly will surely earn you divine retribution. Thanks, Simon! I'm gonna make the most of this opportunity you created for me. Just keep your wits about you. Uendo, could you tell us again about what happened in the dressing room? God, what kind of application has like 1,000 sound effects turning it on? After my performance, I went to visit Shisho. Happy! I called to him from outside the room. Shisho! Let's play! But he didn't reply. When I entered the dressing room, I saw Shisho slumped over the table, motionless. I didn't really notice any unexpected emotions in that testimony. But it isn't always a question of the presence of an emotional response, but the absence. You know, you're right. It's not always the emotions I do see. Sometimes it's a matter of what I don't, but would expect to see. I'd better carefully compare Uendo's statements to his emotions again. Let's go over to here! Pinpoint! Pinpoint!
Got it!
Uendo, I'm noticing something strange with these emotions. Some thin stranger with cheesy toe skin, you say? Something strange with these emotions. How could you have heard some thin stranger with cheesy toe skin? I don't know, maybe it's me who's got some cheese in my ears. Did he will the floor to open up and swallow his cushions out of shame for that bad joke? The point I'm trying to make is that I noticed something unexpected in your emotions. Now stop hiding and come out where we can see you. Bailiff, please bring the witness a few replacement cushions. So what was this unexpected thing you noticed? Oh, come on, His Honor said a few cushions, not a few dozen. Now that we've all had a good laugh, please continue, Miss Sykes. Who's laughing? Focus. Don't let yourself get rattled. When you entered the room and saw your master slumped motionless over the table, You weren't the least bit shocked, Uendo. Don't you think that's a little odd? Is it, though? The lack of surprise means you were prepared for what you saw. I mean, he was an old man. He's expecting him to die for months now. Just keel over out of old age. And I think I know why. The reason Uendo wasn't shaken when he saw his master's dead body is because he knew about the death. Uendo, I think maybe the reason you weren't shaken was because you already knew you would find your master dead. What kind of thing is that to say? You got it all wrong. Oh right, I just remembered something. I thought Shisho was just sleeping when I first saw him. Hee hee! You thought he was sleeping. It sounds plausible, but... what made you think he was asleep? Well, he had his head and arms up on the table as if he were taking a nap. Oh, and one other thing. There was that note, too. What note? He must be talking about this. It appears to have been written by the victim. Allow me to read it. Resting, do not disturb. Yes, that's the note I saw. After reading that, who wouldn't think Shisho was napping? That is a pretty reasonable assumption. You gotta be kidding me. That's right. I saw this note, so that's why I thought Shisho was asleep. I want to change my testimony to include that statement. Alright, I'll run an update. Beep, boop, bloop, bloop. Let's see, where do we go? But he didn't reply. When I opened the door, I thought he was sleeping. But something seemed off, so I rushed over to him.
Got it!
Uendo, I noticed something funny in your motions again. Funny, you say? I guess an entertainer of my caliber can make people laugh even with my emotions. I didn't mean that kind of funny, quite the opposite actually. When you entered the dressing room, I see that you suddenly felt anger. What I want to know is, what made you feel angry all of a sudden? Let's see. Oh yeah, now I remember. As I was going in, I whacked my little piggy on something. I was annoyed at my own clumsiness. You mean you stubbed your pinky toe? Just a little bump on my little piggy. No big deal. It's embarrassing, really. Sounds more like he's hiding something. I better dig a bit deeper. Dig a little deeper. No need to be embarrassed, Uendo, but I'm afraid it's something we need to look into. I don't really see anything you could have stubbed your toe on. In the area around the dressing room door in this picture. But maybe there was something there at the time. Uendo, what exactly did you stub your toe on?
Objection.
What an irrelevant question. You dishonor the soul of the victim with these unnecessary delays. You tell her. Really, who doesn't stub their toe every once in a while? You really gotta fuss over the small detail like this? Well, the thing is... even the most subtle of fluctuations in a person's psyche can clue us into the truth. That's why it's important to get to the bottom of this question. Plus, if I back down now, who knows what new insult Simon will hurl my way. Is there really no trace left of what Uendo stubbed his toe on by the door? What in the world might have been there then, but is not there now? How about this drag mark?
Take that!
Please take a good look at this photo of the crime scene. Do you see it? This long track that goes from the door all the way across the room. Now that you mention it, I do see traces of something getting dragged. And the drag mark ends. There at the TV. This implies that the TV was originally by the door. I'm convinced that this TV is the object the witness stubbed his toe on. Well, Uendo, how about it? Yes, you're right. It was the TV. And you want to know why the TV was there? Because it was playing a video of the victim's act, which is why people thought he was rehearsing, when he wasn't. He was dead. Yes, I stubbed my pinky toe on the TV. But what of it? Why is this so important to you? So the noise went down, but it hasn't completely disappeared yet. Which means he's still hiding something. Okay, let's try this tactic instead. Uendo, why was the TV moved there? Shisho must have moved it so we can watch my routine. But what a place to put it! Right in the middle of the doorway like that. I didn't want to bump into it again, so I put it back where it belonged. Performances on stage can be viewed in the dressing room using that TV. That's right. It's a closed-circuit monitor that shows the stage. I see. Now what? I can't find anything else out of the place. And I still haven't gotten the noise level down to 0 yet. Simon, I'm still getting noise here, but I don't see anything else fishy. This is precisely why amateurs are such a bother. Sorry. I'm in no mood to play nursemaid here, but if that's what it takes to save the Soba shop... Oi, Uendo! Here's a curiosity for you. This table master Tonaido slumped over looks like it was moved. Did you happen to bump into it while you were moving the TV back? Oh my! Yes, you're right. The TV hit the table and Shisho's body moved with a jolt. That's when I first realized that Shisho was dead. But how scared I was. I see. Thank you. We're finally getting a more precise picture of how the body was discovered. But I'd wager you need to put the spurs to Uendo just a trifle longer. Right. I can't keep asking Simon to bail me out like this. It's time for me to regain my footing and really stand on my own. Uendo, what you said just now about discovering your master's death. Could you please describe all that again for the court in detail? Alright, and I'm going to save that for the next episode, so stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!